Hello and welcome. Happy November 1st out there. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a great Halloween. Got lots of candy. Nothing too bad happened. Got crazy Halloween stories, man. Um, One time there's this little thing called where I grew up called Old Foamy, and it's like a scary, like low water crossing bridge. I grew up in the kind of the Midwest, more like Midwest South. So there's always water there, particularly in the fall. It rains a lot. And we were it's like small town stuff. So here's our small town, like 7 miles away is another small town. You get it about every 7 miles is another small town, and those are rivals, right? So we were like, just hanging out with ourselves and having a good time, throwing water balloons and stuff like that out of the back of somebody's truck. Being kids, doing stuff kids do where we're from, and then all of a sudden we get one of our friends gets pegged with a golf ball, and then my friend's truck starts getting pegged with a bunch of golf balls. And so we take off running, or we try to get away. And then, you're getting hit with the golf ball. It hurts when somebody's launching them with like throwing them like a rock or a baseball. So we ran to like one of our friends' house that was there, and they followed us there and they kept like pegging us. But then after like, when somebody's invading into another territory and you start doing that, even before cell phones, none of us had cell phones, but it was real quick to gather us. And then we started chasing these people around, and then the cops got involved, right? And we're being kids. And so, when still a little kid, minority kid especially, you see cops, you start getting really scared. So we took off running. Me and my friend David, one of the fastest guys that I ever went to school with, and he ran right into a barbed wire fence, dude, and it gashed open his neck super bad. Like I could see him breathing. I could see his muscles going like in and out when he was breathing, but he wasn't hurt, and there was no blood. That was the creepiest part about it. He had this huge gash in his neck and no blood. And I was like, oh, dude, we got to go to the hospital, and I wasn't driving yet. I must have been 14 at this point, and David didn't have a car, so we ran back to our friend's house, and our friend's mom saw it, and she started freaking out. And they'd only been there about 4 months, so they had no idea where anything was. They didn't know where a hospital was, because you got to drive like to the next town to go to the hospital. So she's like, "All right, y'all hop in." She's like, "Halloween's over here. Y'all get in the car. We got to go." So I was like, "All right, I'll go with you." And it was me, TJ, who's a girl, David, and me and TJ's mom, and we're driving, and we like take her through these David Tallis Jones, how can I forget him too? And he's like telling this crazy story about witches and the 3 moons. He's always on something, man. Shout out to Dallas, dude. And he's telling all these crazy stories, and the mom's freaking out, and we're just driving on the way. And anyway, so the quickest way to the hospital is taking this back road with the low water crossing called Old Foamy, right? And all my life, there's always a story about Goat Man being there. It's a guy with the goat head because there's a goat farm, right beside it. So it's like, oh, Goat Man, and these, kids being punk ass kids, they like, had a dead goat and taped it head to like a dummy, and they were slinging it on a rope out past like the river, right? And they were scaring people as they went by, and it was like on like a pulley, so they could pull it one way or the other. And we're coming through it, and it's like a really windy road. Like I told you, it's kind of Midwest Southish, so it's like a lot of trees, especially by this like low water kind of swampy area. And so it's dark as crap, dude. You can't see anything, and like the trees are like hanging over the road. That's how like dark it is. That's how thick the trees are right there. They're like meeting across the road. And I remember telling her distinctly, TJ's mother, I don't know her name, and I was like, "Hey, ma'am, you might want to slow down. There's basically a hairpin turn right up here." And what it was is like a hairpin, and you went down into the low water, then you came out of it. And she's like, "Okay, okay, okay." And meanwhile, she's got this kid she's never seen before with this huge gash in his neck beside her. And we come in, I was like, "Hey, you might want to." And then she just like goes right off the road, right into the low water crossing. I mean, it's a nasty creek. It's, people dump stuff there. It's freaking disgusting. And I'll never forget watching the water like rise in the windows, and I'm starting to freak out, and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know how to open the door." And it didn't have a manual windows, and it's like, this is early 2000s, so this is like a 90s car, and it had like the child lock thing where the window only goes halfway up. Keep in mind, I'm playing football. I'm about 200 pounds of beefy at this point in my life, and I'm just like, oh man, this is about to be a bad situation. So David immediately gets the window down, hops out the front, like he's freaking out because he feels bad because he just had somebody's car wrecked, And meanwhile, TJ's mom's there, and TJ, I don't even think she was participating in Halloween, and she was just like in her PJs, like some shorts and a t-shirt. And like, so we had to make like about a 2.5 foot jump, nothing too crazy, maybe a little further, about a 3.5 foot jump. Like I had to actually like jump, you couldn't step it. And we helped her mom across. Like we're all standing on top of the car, like water's in it. People are coming out from the trees. Like, are you guys okay? What's going on? It's like the kids scaring people with the goat and stuff. And it's just crazy scene, man. It's just a crazy, crazy scene. Luckily, one of those kids scared somebody. One of the rich kids had a cell phone. Like I said, it's like 2002. Not too many people had those, or 2001. Not everybody's got a cell phone yet. And he ended up calling the coach, and a coach that lived like a few miles down the road, and they came and picked us all up. We all went to the hospital, and people picked us up there. But I just always remember that the water coming in, it was like crazy scene. And Dallas is still going on about some witches. This night's cursed, and yada yada yada. And TJ, poor TJ, man. Like I told you, this is Halloween. It's cold already, and she's just in like shorts and a t-shirt, and she didn't bring her glasses. I guess that she couldn't see or something. And she, instead of like making the jump across, she like jumped right in this nasty cold water, and she started freaking out and getting super pissed, naturally so. And it was just a chaotic moment, man. I'll never forget that Halloween. But I hope you had a good Halloween. I hope you didn't wreck your car, have to go to the hospital like that story. But and I hope you got a little candy. You didn't eat too much. Don't get a tummy ache, man. All right, going back over Sunday's games. Panthers beat the Falcons. Titans beat the Colts. Oh, wait, let me read the scores to you. Panthers 19, Falcons 13, Titans 34, Colts 31, Bills 26, Dolphins 11, Jets 34, Bengals 31. I can't believe I bought into that narrative that the Bengals are good. I bought into it, and it cost me big time. Steelers 15, Browns 10. I knew that was going to happen. Eagles 44-6. Oh, my gosh. Everybody was so wrong on how the Lions covering the spread. 38-22, 16 points on the spread. They just covered it. That was Rams at Texans. 49ers at Bears. 49ers 33, Bears 22. Patriots went in and stomped the Chargers. I had a pretty good feeling about that. The media was all on the Chargers, though. They're not as good as y'all think they are. I know they're in LA, and I know they want both LA teams to be so good, so bad. It's just not going to happen, dude. The Chargers do not have a defense to be good. Seahawks 31-7, complete blowout. Saints 36 to Buccaneers 27. I had a pretty good feeling the Buccaneers were going to win, or the Saints are going to win that game. I told you guys last week on the podcast, I think the Saints can win this game. I think it's a trap game. I just wish I would have caught the Bengals game being a trap. Broncos 17, Washington football team 10. I fell asleep last night during this game, but it looks like the Cowboys came back and won it 20-16 without Dak Prescott. Very big win for them. Tonight we got Giants at the Chiefs. I don't know what the hell is going to happen. The Chiefs haven't covered a spread in like almost 2 years. And the spread right now is at 10.5. Maybe that's why they haven't covered it. They give these guys double-digit spreads to cover. So 10.5 points for the Chiefs, 51.5 points on the over-under, -475 for the Chiefs, plus 350 for the Giants. Anytime touchdown score, Tyreek Hill, -135. Travis Kelce, -120. Darrell Williams, -110. Devontae Booker, +115. Sterling Shepard, +240. McCole Hardman, +260. Patrick Mahomes, 290. Demarcus Robinson, 290. Hey, Daniel Jones, 330 if you think he's going to run one in. Evan Ingram's 330. Jarek McKinnick is 350. So Brian Pingle 380, Slayton 400, Kadarius Toney 350, Chiefs defense 450. That is so low. But that's pretty much your good your anytime touchdown scoring props. Passing yards, Daniel Jones 243.5 is his line. Patrick Mahomes is at 301.5. Interceptions, both of them at over half. Passing plus rushing. This is a pretty good statistic for these two guys. I told you guys last week, bet on Patrick Mahomes. His line was way too low. He went over it like in the first half. His rushing plus receiving line is 326.5. Daniel Jones's rushing plus receiving line, or rushing, excuse me, guys. I'm so used to running backs and wide receivers. Passing plus rushing was 326 for Mahomes. Passing plus rushing for Daniel Jones is 268.5. Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Pass attempts 32.5 for Daniel Jones, 37 for Patrick Mahomes. I might take the under on both of those. That's a lot of passes for Monday night, but I guess it could happen. Looking at wide receiver and player props, rushing yards, Daniel Jones, 21.5. Patrick Mahomes, 19.5. Devontae Booker, 51.5. Darrell Williams, 58.5. Talk about low rushing lines, and your quarterbacks almost have half as much as your running backs. Says something about your run offense. Keep that in mind, guys, going forward. Receivers, let's see who has the highest line. The highest lines, Travis Kelce still 79.5. Let's just go hammer it. I bet on it, so it's probably not going to hit. So be careful if you do that. But I did take Travis Kelce over. It was at 77.5 when I took it, so the line has moved up 2 yards. Tyreek Hill's at the same, 79.5. McCole Hardman, 38.5. Evan Ingram, 32.5. Devontae Booker, 17.5. Demarcus Robinson, 14.5. Darrell Williams, 16.5. So they have 0 Giants wide receiver yardage out there. Should tell you something about the passing game. They don't know. They don't know who's going to be healthy. They don't know who's going to be out there. So just, take that with a grain of salt. Rushing plus receiving yards, one of my favorite statistics because you can get it both ways. Darrell Williams, 78.5. Devontae Booker, 72.5. Booker could get that, especially if the wide receivers are a little banged up for the Giants. He could be a little dump-off valve. The Chiefs suck defensively, so Daniel Jones should be able to move the ball, but you never know. You never know. That's just how it is in football. It's all betting is all just a big you don't know and you hope you get it right kind of thing. All right. The weekly special, Daniel Jones and Patrick Mahomes to combine for over 549 passing yards and 0 interceptions. I wouldn't touch that. I wouldn't touch that at the 10-foot pole. Stay away from that. Graham Gano, 5.5, one of the best kickers, that we've seen in the NFL this far. He's a top 10 kicker. His kicking points total, 5.5. So 2 field goals, he hits it. That's at negative 145. Harrison Butker, 7.5. So we need at least 2 field goals and 2 extra points. They should do that. But, he's got to make all those too. That's the problem with the kicks. We won't make with PATs. Let's go ahead and look at defensive and special pro. Oh, man, they didn't. Oh. They're not giving me any tackle props for the night in the game. Like, I think I hit too many of the tackle props, guys, because they've been taking them off the board. And this is on DK. This is day of, and I have no tackling props. I didn't have any yesterday. I don't have any today. This is ridiculous. This is our angle, and they're taking it away from us. They didn't have hardly any on the week before. We may have to start going with Caesars. Caesars will also allow you to parlay, same-game parlay, tackles plus assists on the same game. That's a really good angle as well. This is kind of weird that they don't have more. I've already gone over all the props with you that I can now, and that's kind of whack. Let me just see what's under game props, and we can get some TD specials. Team total touchdowns for the Giants, 2.5, over 2.5 at plus 145. Man, so if you think the Giants can get 3 touchdowns, that's a good plus bet, honestly. And they had the Chiefs over 3.5. So if you think the Chiefs will get 4 touchdowns, that's at negative 140. That's a big disparity. I mean, a 10-point spread should tell you that's about right. Their numbers match up. But it just seems like the Giants have a chance to get more than 3 touchdowns or over 2 touchdowns to me. And I think they can score 21 points, or I think they can score 3 touchdowns, I say. I mean, that's total touchdowns. Let's say they get a pick 6 off of Patrick Mahomes and take it to the house. Now you just need 14 points from your offense. I may get on that bet. That's not a bad bet. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are suspect to be scored on, to say the least. So that might be my angle. That's a lot, 3 touchdowns for a bad team, but I think Daniel Jones and that defense can do it, dude. That's kind of our best angle right now. Let's take a look at some of these popular bets. Let's see. For some reason, there's some I think it's popular for the bookies because they want you to lose your money. Let's see. All right, alternative totals. Receiving yards. We've already covered all these pretty much. I mean, just alternate totals, basically alternate spreads. Remember to tease your bets. Don't ever forget that. But I guess if you're looking for 2 props, I've already told you about Kelce. I bet on it, so it may not happen. You may not want to follow that advice. But I got Kelce. It was 77.5 yards. Now it's 79.5 yards. And then I think the Giants are going to score. I think Giants are going to score more than 2.5 touchdowns. And so if you feel good about taking that spread or teasing it, maybe they won't lose by more than 10.5 points. Like I told you, Kansas City hasn't covered a spread in almost 2 years. So that's a good angle as well. If you're looking for a plus bet, take the Giants over 2.5 touchdowns. Garbage time could be our friend here. It could be competitive. The Chiefs could come out and lay another goose egg. You don't know what to expect. Or the Chiefs could come out and score a lot of points, forcing the Giants to come into a different game script. I think it's a wonderful bet. Giants over 2.5 touchdowns. Lock it in, baby. Remember, guys, go check out Iggy's Fantasy and Betting for all your betting needs. Your fantasy needs. The player pine hit. I have at least 4 players. I only write about 2 for 5 positions. They all hit. All right, for your waiver wire, I told you guys about Randy Gregory. Lo and behold, what did he do? He went out and got a sack. I told you guys that was going to happen. So let's, just go to the website, Iggy's Fantasy and Betting, subscribe to your favorite podcast listening platform, or just listen to it there. And then while you're there, subscribe to the Patreon. Let's go get you some money on bets. Let's figure out what you want to do with your bets, and let's go make that money happen. Other than that, guys, have a great, great Monday. Recover well from Halloween, all you older trick-or-treaters, and you young trick-or-treaters. Don't eat all your candy in the first couple days, okay? Save it, spread it out, share it with your friends. That's something to always remember as well. All right, guys. Now, a little shorter show, but I hope you enjoy it. Hit me up with any of your fantasy questions. Oh, I do got to say, hey, Daisy, I do have to say, I did walk around, just somebody was like stopping me yesterday. I was like, hey, I drafted your advice and I won my first 3 games just off the stuff you drafted. And I was like, that's so cool. They recognized me in a Gandalf outfit. So that was a good feeling, man. So I just told you that to say, if you have any questions about tonight, betting, fantasy, just let me know and we'll try to get you some money in your pocket, right? Because I know Halloween, it probably cost us all some money. We're getting closer to the seasons. So let's try to put some money from Monday Night Football into your pockets. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, Daisy. Thank you, everybody else. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day.